Detroit Lions podcast. Powered by the Monroe County Reporters. Here are your hosts, Jason Harwood and Jacob Litton.
Welcome to another episode of Talking Grit. I am Jason Harwood. With me is Jacob Litton. We will feature an interview with Sheriff Joe Baggs from the Ram Showcase. In the middle of this episode, give us a little lowdown on what's going on in Los Angeles. And it's good opportunity to catch up with Joe because he's such a good dude. But let's catch up with Jacob. Jacob, it's been a couple days. How you been doing?
I'm all right. I'm still battling the kidney stone, guys. It is not passed yet. It reminds me ever so often that it's still there. So I'm dealing with that right now. Long hours at work. Christmas is coming soon. I'm all right though.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm all right.
Long hours for me in my basement, checking prescriptions.
Long
really rough,
hours.
Jacob. No,
I don't hear nothing about long hours from you.
It's cush, man. It's all cush.
He comes upstairs literally minutes after clocking out. It's like, oh, honey, what a day.
Oh, it was rough, man. That was rough. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No, it's all good, dude. I paid my dues and I'm where I want to be. So
True that.
I'm sorry that you're in pain. That does suck. The kidney stone thing. I wish you'd just pass it just to
Me too.
get over it. Yeah.
I'm trying everything. I'm looking up stuff on YouTube and Reddit and different remedies and different whatever they've got out there.
If you think me punching you in the kidney would help, I'll do it, man. I'll punch you right in the kidney. Just kidney punches.
You want to know what's funny about that? The first night this happened, like I'm, rolling around, like trying to find something to get comfortable. I'm in so much pain. And this was after I'd already woke up Deanna. I was like, we've got to go to the ER. Like, we've got to go now. I was trying to just wait till they woke up. And then maybe, like, I don't know, in my head, I was like, maybe, like, she can take him to school and then we'll just go and, like, I'll be okay. And that didn't last long. So she wakes up and she's like, I'm laying around, like, rolling around. She's like, would it help if I just, like, tapped on your back? And she just hits my back, like, 3 times. And then I, like, start throwing up. I got to run to the bathroom and throw up because I'm in so much pain. Like, that did not help at all.
Yeah. Well, my kidney punches weren't necessarily to help you. They were mostly just to take out my aggression.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, man. I just want to, remind everybody. First of all, thank everybody that's followed us along on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening. We really do appreciate it. If you're new, just glad to have you along. Just remember to follow us. You could also listen to some comments at Talking Grit Pod on Twitter, and then don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're listening to this at. And Jacob, not too many transactions between last time we had the podcast. Just picked up some extra safety help. Why don't you go through what's been happening?
Still interesting though, because we talked about like the tight end depth before when we waived the last tight end. A few days ago we waived Ross Dwelly. Well, now we waived tight end Hayden Rucci. So somebody else that was only on the team for about a week before we had to waive him. This one, though, we waived him so that we could make room for Jalen Mills, who we put in a claim for from the Houston Texans. So safety Jalen Mills went on waivers. We put in a claim for him, and we were assigned him. So now he will be on the active roster, kind of make up for Brian Branch being gone. Although Brian Branch, as we speak right now, is still not been placed on injured reserve.
No, but he did have a successful surgery per Dan Campbell, so not sure why we're delaying. I really don't know why we're delaying putting Brian Branch on IR because there's no way he's coming back, especially after having Achilles surgery. But we'll see. It's probably just sub transaction on Saturday, I'm sure, when we're moving people up to the active roster or whatever, is what we're waiting for. It's kind of interesting that we decided to waive the tight end instead of just putting Branch on IR. We could have. I'm not really sure what the thought is on that, but however, that could mean that Zylstra might be ready to come back if we felt confident enough to waive one of these tight ends. So that'd be good because Zylstra offers us some pass catching ability, whereas the other tight ends are mostly there for blocking. Zylstra offers us, he's not up on Laporta's level, but at least he can get out and catch some pass and have some threat to do some damage there.
Definitely. That's exactly what I was thinking, too, is that hopefully that means Zylstra will be active this week.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jacob. Playing the Rams this week, team that we're familiar with, seem to be playing them on a yearly basis, either in the regular season or playoffs. they are played really well this year. And when I made their main threats, I really had to limit some people because they have more that would fit on our page here. But this is the players that stood out to me. Jacob, you want to do the offense or you want me to do it?
Doesn't matter. You can do the offense.
All right. So obviously we're going to start with wide receiver here. They got Puka Nacua is a major threat. He's currently rated the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL right now per PFF. I didn't realize. I knew he's having a good season. I didn't realize that he'd have him number 1. I thought JSN might take that title, but as of right now, PFF has him number 1. Devontae Adams is 9, so they have 2 top 10 wide receivers on this team, and that's because Matt Stafford, the number 1 rated quarterback at PFF, is distributing the ball. Just going to be a tough offense. Going to be, when we get to the interview with Sheriff, it's just talking about, all the different options that they have. It's very similar to the Lions. Like, you take away one thing, they're just going to pivot to something else. And Stafford is that good that he could do that. So it'll be a good chess match in this game. I'm looking forward to it. They had 2 wide receivers I mentioned. They got 2 running backs that are really good. Kyron Williams, rated number 8, but Blake Corum. If you have not been watching the Rams, they are giving the ball to Corum more and more, and he's doing something with it too. He's currently rated number 14 on PFF and running backs. It's because I didn't put any of their offensive line here for main threats, but they have a really good offensive line. I'm thinking that Stafford also protects them because he usually gets the ball out pretty quickly, and they're a pretty balanced team, so they can use they will use all those weapons. The last one I'm going to mention is tight end Colby Parkinson, number 10. They have like 3 or 4 tight ends that they could distribute the ball with, but Colby Parkinson is probably the one that we're worried about the most right here. As far as NFL Top 100, Puka came in at number 41. Stafford was number 59, and Kyron was 85. So Devontae Adams, he did not make it, but that's mostly probably because last year with the Jets, he was just
down
year, subpar year,
moved around. Yeah, right. No, but you're like, the offensive line for the Rams is not that much different from the last time that we played them. Yet now you look at these rankings, like their tackles are number 7 and number 11. Their guards are number 4 and 5. Their center is number 9. So that's nearly the entire offensive line that's top 10 in Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, when they grade that stuff, sometimes like I said, it has to do with the ball getting out of there quickly. They're not going to give up many sacks because of that. Stafford, is also smart and throws the ball away, but having 2 good running backs back there helps out too. But, there's a reason why Stafford hasn't thrown very many interceptions. He's probably not getting pressured as much, and the offensive line's going to get graded well because of that. All right, Jacob, on defense, very good defense for the Rams. Who do we have to worry about there?
All right, defensive side of the ball. We're going to start with the line. So defensive lineman Poona Ford is rated number 3 in Pro Football Focus out of 128. And then another defensive lineman, Kobe Turner, is rated number 10. So we're going to start there just because that's going to be the interior defensive line. As you know, kind of one of our weaker spots have been where, with Graham at center and some of the guard play and everything that we've had. So those are the interior defensive linemen. Then you've got the edge defenders. Byron Young is ranked number 10 out of 112, and then Jared Verse is number 14. Really good edge defenders. They get sacks. This line gets to the quarterback. So our offensive line needs to be on it to slow these guys down. And then you go back to linebacker Nate Landman is ranked number 11 on Pro Football Focus. And safety Cameron Kinchins is number 5 out of 96. So overall, I don't know if you saw this. Like, when you first go to Pro Football Focus, their rankings have the Rams number 1 overall, number 1 offense, number 1 defense. Their special teams, however, I think is ranked like number 27. So for somehow their special teams are really down there, but Pro Football Focus has them number 1, in all other aspects. The only top 100 player they had was Jared Verse, which was number 53 on the NFL Top 100.
Yep. Yeah, they got weapons at each level of this defense. It does start up front. They have a very good line. Jared Verse is very disruptive. John Morton, during his interview today, said that this line attacks with violence, and that's I think you hear a lot of the same adjectives and stuff for the Rams as you do the Lions. Very similar teams and how they're built. Obviously, the Brad Holmes connection to the Rams probably speaks to that. But they're just both very good teams, and they both want to. They are tight up front, probably better than we are. And so, for us to win this game, we're going to have to win that line of scrimmage, and that's not going to be easy against these guys.
No, we didn't even mention Kingpin. Did you know about Braden Fisk? That's his nickname. They call him Kingpin, like from Spider-Man.
Oh, really? Nice.
I was like, oh man, that's a really good nickname.
That's sweet. I'm wearing a Spider-Man shirt right now, ironically.
Nice.
Awesome.
That means you're supporting the enemy.
Yeah, no, kind of. No, just showing my inner nerd.
Always Spider-Man. Spider-Man's number one, so.
Spider-Man is cool. All right, man. Practice report, pretty short for the Rams. Wide receiver Tutu Atwell, who's actually on injured reserve, just his practice windows opened up. They did not list if he had a full practice today, but he did have one yesterday. So it didn't say whether he practiced or not. I'm not sure if Tutu's going to come back or not. Darius Williams, cornerback, had a full practice today. Byron Young, they're outstanding. They have him listed as a linebacker and the injury report, but usually he'll play at the edge, like he's on the edge. Limited practice, and Devontae Adams has not practiced this week, but that happened last week, and then he was playing a game. Jacob, during the interview with Sheriff, he brought up a great point whether they play this week's a little different for Devontae because they play their division opponent on Sunday or on Thursday. So they play us on Sunday, and then they have a quick game again. They got to go up to Seattle. So if Devontae is if they had to pick and choose, they might want him in that division game as opposed to this Lions game.
Yeah, this game, in the grand scheme of things for them, holds a lot less weight than what the game's going to be on Thursday. So if Devontae's kind of like less than 50-50, if he's, trending the wrong way, you would think they would kind of hold him out to keep him safe. But we talked with Sheriff about that. He made a good point about using Devontae as a decoy, even just to have him active out there. So he thinks he's going to play.
Yep. As far as the players on IR that matter, Tyler Higbee's tight end, he's on IR. Tutu Atwell, who we just talked about, and Rob Havenstein from the offensive line. Those are the players on IR. Now, Tutu Atwell is eligible to come back. The other two are not. All right, Jacob, why don't you talk about what our practice report looked like?
Week in and week out, every time we do this, it's like, our opponent has hardly anybody on the injury report. And then you flip over to us, and it's like, oh, my God, this ridiculously long list. Practice report officially, because Brian Branch did not go on injury reserve. He's listed on those injury reports, but obviously that's just a formality there. But the bigger names that did not practice on Thursday are Kirby Joseph and Taylor Decker. Decker obviously kind of gets in some limited work or gets some rest, I guess you would say, almost every week. But he did not practice Wednesday, did not practice Thursday. It's just always a worry. Sounds like he's probably going to be okay, but, you always just wonder what if. Hopefully he's able to get something going. Kirby got in limited work on Wednesday, but he did not practice on Thursday. That's really up in the air. Nobody knows if Kirby's going to play or not. They're not letting any of that information out. As far as limited practices go, the guard, Coyote Awasika and Christian Mahogany, they both got limited practices in. Mahogany, we don't have it down here. I think Mahogany still has something like, 18 days or something. Like, he just started that window. So,
I mean,
he's still got a while.
And he wants to play this week or next week. So, we'll see.
If Mahogany had his way, he would be playing right now, but they're going to play that safe. Safety Thomas Harper was in concussion protocol. He got in limited practice. That's really good news because we obviously need him. Wide receiver Khalif Raymond, limited practice. Sione Vaki still battling a thumb injury, limited practice, but he played with the injury before. And then, as we mentioned already, tight end Shane Zylstra, limited practice. Really hope that Shane is able to go.
Yes, that would be ideal for our tight end. Just give us another weapon to use and someone to, third down we can get the ball out to. Take that Sam Laporta role a little bit. Not the weapon that Sam is, but at least another option in the passing game, right?
Right.
All right. We're going to get into the stats of this game. You're going to notice that these teams are very closely ranked. The biggest difference is the points allowed when you get onto the defensive side for the Rams and Detroit, but everything else is they're right neck and neck. We are after the last game versus Cowboys, we're the number one ranked offense as far as points scored, scoring at 30.3. Just a point below us are the Rams, who are ranked fourth at 29.2. However, the big difference is the Lions give up 23.4 points per game. We're 18th ranked in the NFL in that category, whereas the Rams 17.5, ranked number 3. So they, as Sheriff says, they will, let you go up and down the field, but they keep you out of the end zone. So it'll be imperative when we get down into the red zone, we put points on this team because we know they're going to put points up on us. How about we look offensively, Jacob? Why don't you go through those stats?
Yeah, really close matchup as we're diving into it. Total yards per game, the Rams on offense, 373.2. We get 378.7. So we're third in the NFL. They are fourth in the NFL. Very similar in total yards per game. Rushing yards per game, the Lions are 135.8. Rams behind at 123.9. So Lions right now are number 5, Rams number 11. And then passing yards per game, so the Lions are 242.8. The Rams are 249.2. So still very, very close in these yards. Yep. Rams are ranked 3rd, Lions ranked 5th.
Yep. Yeah, really, really close. And then defensively, again, we are just like 2 or 3 ranks from each other, which is interesting considering that they let up far fewer points than we do. That speaks to me to red zone, stopping people in the red zone. And just coming up maybe with some turnovers at key times. Total yards per game, neck and neck. The Rams come in and rank 13th. We come in and rank 15th. We're only like 8 yards apart. They give up 315 to us, 323. Rushing yards, the Rams are ranked a little bit ahead of the Lions there too. Ranked at 16. We come in and ranked at 19. Actually, that's the passing yards per game. I think I flipped those because that'd be a lot of rushing yards to give up. So sorry.
Passing yards per game. When you said that, I was like, that's not right. What?
Yeah, I think I flipped the two. So passing yards per game would be 211.5 to 221.2. Rams 16th to 19th. And then rushing yards per game, they give up slightly more than us, less than a yard more than us. They are ranked 11th and we are ranked 10th. So basically the same team on defense, but they're giving up a lot less points. They're probably more disruptive up front as a whole. But, it'll be on us to take over this game, and we're going to have to, especially offensively, get them on their heels a little bit.
Got to bring the pressure, keep the intensity.
All right, Jacob. I'm going to head over to our interview with Sheriff Joe Baggs. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and we'll see you guys on the flip side. I want to welcome our next guest. He was actually our first guest that we had on last year when we did the preview week 1. And Jacob and I were just so ecstatic with how that worked out. We could not wait to get him back on. Luckily, that's worked out. We have Sheriff Joe Baggs back from the Rams Showcase. Sheriff, we were talking before the show. You sound very confident in your team. Don't be too braggy, okay?
I'll do my best, man, but feeling pretty dang good right now. They were talking about it on one of the Rams specific shows this week on the official page that in all 3 of the losses, also the Rams were right there, right at the very, very end. So, I mean, we're a couple plays away from being undefeated, which is kind of crazy. I'm kind of glad we're not. You don't want that pressure, especially, in December time of also keeping that going. So I'm happy where we're at, but yeah, feeling good, but just, we got plenty of games to go, and December, January, let's get through that before I'm too crazy on everybody.
Yeah, you don't want to peak too early, and so that's my hope with you guys, that you guys have peaked way too early. That's my hope.
How about we beat you this week, and then that'll be your setback, and then you'll just win out for the playoffs. This will be the game where you straighten it out.
I don't know, man. It also does. I mean, the Lions are clinging to playoffs, man, and a loss in this game, it's a hit. So I think we're going to get a desperate Lions team. This can absolutely go any way.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun one. If the Cowboys were not playing Sunday night, I think this game gets moved to Sunday night because the whole Stafford thing, that storyline's never going to die. with Lions fans, and two good teams, especially when you start looking at team stats. Very close matchup and stat wise. Now those can be all misleading and stuff like that. So watching the games, the Rams have definitely played a consistent form of football all season long, both offensively and defensively. Whereas I think the Lions have been a little up and down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you've got the clear cut evidence of that just within the last 4 weeks. It's win loss, for
Mhm.
Detroit. But yeah, I mean, the Rams obviously coming into this point of the season, we're feeling good. I mean, obviously a couple weeks ago you lose to a team in Carolina, and everybody's like, "Oh no, is it over?" And it's like, well, hold on. That's they are also a desperate team fighting for playoff action. So they're actually not as bad as people are kind of throwing them as. But then you get a big rebound on the road against a division opponent. I know that division opponent is the Arizona Cardinals. And historically speaking, maybe not this year, but historically speaking, in your division, that's been the Bears. And so we all got them, a team that can help you get right. And so that Arizona popped up on our schedule at the perfect time. A little bit of a breath, I guess. I don't even know if that's the right term because every NFL team is good. That's why they're in the NFL. But that was a nice little booster before taking on a stretch here where, I mean, Lions and Seahawks in a 5-day span is rude of the schedule makers to do this to the Rams in December. I mean, hey, I guess you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And if you want to beat the best, you got to play the best. So I'm happy for it.
That's what I always say. Like, if you can't beat these teams in the regular season, then when the playoffs come, what are you going to say? You can't shy away from those teams. Then, for the Lions, we would need some cupcake games just to make sure we get in the playoffs. But this could be a great test because if we beat the Rams, the narrative of the Lions season changes on a dime. I guarantee the power rankings will shoot up. There's going to be so much that would change based on a win like that. You're right. The Lions, I wouldn't say are desperate because we can't afford to lose this game and still make the playoffs, but we are clinging. So yeah, you're going to get the best of the Lions team, I feel, on this week.
It's getting tight. I think you're absolutely right. There is like a win for Detroit is huge. A loss for Detroit is bad, but it's not devastating. It is definitely not good. You don't want to be losing games in December on the road against NFC contenders. But yeah, a win certainly goes a long way. Obviously, that win last week against Dallas went a huge distance for the Detroit Lions, and now getting that extra break as well, that kind of bums me out. So we get, I'm talking about us getting two NFC powerhouses in a couple of days, and here we got you guys coming off all fresh after what's called the mini bye, so well rested and all that stuff. But at least it's in LA. I'll take that.
Yeah, we do have to travel across the country, don't we?
Yeah. I heard Dan Campbell. I've been this year. I've been listening to more like other like local radios and stuff like that. And I listened to Dan Campbell. He called in on a radio show and he was kind of talking about the travel and stuff like that and some of the injuries and stuff. But yeah, traveling to LA and this time, I mean, you guys play in a dome, so it's not like weather is a major factor and stuff. But I mean, you come to LA and it's never a factor, no matter the situation. So that's good.
Right.
Yep. All right, Jacob, I'll let you start here.
All right, we're diving in here. So we're going to start on the defensive side. So the Rams defense has been dominant this year. So we just want to know who are some players that may fly under the radar, that kind of make this defense go.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't know how under the radar some of these names are. For me, they felt like under the radar maybe coming into the season, but I don't know what the conversation is, on a national level about some of these guys. But the Rams defense, obviously, I mean, the numbers are there. You have the numbers. I mean, as far as like overall statistics and yards and stuff like that, the Rams will let you move the football. But when it gets to third down, it gets to scoring situations. That's where they really put a lid on it, which is good. But I think that some of the players that have come over to the Rams that are newer, I think are extremely underrated, which would be Emmanuel Forbes Jr. Tough task, obviously, this week. I anticipate that he'll be mainly on JMO rather than Amon-Ra, just if I had to guess. And then in the run game, Nate Landman gets all the attention from people talking about how the Rams improved their run defense. I think that at least some of that, because obviously Nate Landman has done wonders for the Rams run defense, but at least some of that needs to go to Poona Ford, who the Rams signed from the Chargers last year. A major addition. He clogs it up. I mean, the Rams were really struggling against the run all last season, and it definitely hurt them. So that was a point of focus that the Rams wanted to address. So Landman, I absolutely put in there, but Poona Ford is more of an underrated guy. And then coming into the season, obviously Jared Verse was the conversation. It was, versus maybe he's a defensive player of the year, but Byron Young right now has 11 sacks. And I think that he's getting almost forgotten still, even by Rams fans. People still only talk about Jared Verse. So Byron Young coming off of that other side, going against right tackles. I mean, he's playing really, really good football. This is certainly the best he's ever been. I mean, that's very exciting. I mean, we got so many guys under rookie contracts. I'm nervous about that, but when the time comes. But Byron Young is certainly playing some incredible football. He can really get after a quarterback.
Nice.
He's gonna have his hands full with Penei Sewell this week, but that's gonna be a good, really good matchup.
It's a great matchup. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good matchup, JB. They're so close on both sides, so it'll be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Speaking of fun, we could see Matt Stafford back, playing Detroit again. He's playing at an MVP level this year. That's nationally thought. We've had where he's had outstanding numbers in Detroit, but the team wasn't winning. He's playing. I mean, he's probably what's he leading the NFL in touchdowns by a pretty large margin. So, what is the difference that you're noticing this year from Stafford? It's not like he's been a slouch since he's been in Los Angeles, but what's the difference this year between previous seasons?
I really think I would contribute it to more of the mental aspect of it. And Matthew Stafford's always been a smart quarterback. He's always done well pre-snap and making sure that his guys are set properly. But it's one of those things that comes with age. It happened. We saw it with Tom Brady. We saw it with Peyton Manning. We're seeing it with a little bit with Aaron Rodgers. I think that he's kind of taken a little bit of a different path in that sense. But yeah, just these veterans that kind of start getting up there and they kind of understand that maybe their physical abilities maybe have dwindled a little bit. I don't know if you've seen Stafford try to roll out and pick up a first down, but it's miserable. So I think it's just that mental aspect of just, knowing you're not going to outrun everybody. His arm is unbelievable. I don't know how, I can't say anything about his arm going out or anything like that. He's slinging it, man. He's got a rocket launcher attached to his torso, and we're happy for it. But I think that the mental aspect of his game is just at a different level right now. And obviously, it doesn't hurt when, you got Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua on the other side of those footballs. So I'll say that.
Yeah. Devontae Adams has been. My son has Kyron Williams on his fantasy team, and he gets so mad because you guys will get down there, and the first throw will be always to Devontae Adams. It's like everyone knows it's coming, and they still connect. It's. I knew that was going to happen when Stafford and Devontae Adams got hooked up.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where last year, again, it was another weak spot for the Rams is red zone scoring. And it was, how do we address this? Devontae Adams is available. Okay, let's go ahead and add him into this mix. And then you have Matthew Stafford, who can put it on a single blade of grass if you wanted to. And then Devontae, who can make those moves off the line. I mean, it truly is. It feels unfair. I mean, like watching that, it's coming. They can't do anything about it. And he's beating good corners. It's not like these are backups or anything like that. Like they're doing this to very good defenses. And from the one, you're doing it in a phone booth, man. That's very impressive.
We used to do that with Stafford and Megatron, and then they ended up just having to put two corners out on Megatron. It's like if he runs a slant, one corner gets him. If he's running a fade, somebody else goes after him.
Well, and that's the thing is you try to do that to Devontae Adams, and we'll just go to 12 instead. I go, okay, where's Puka?
Exactly.
So,
right.
That's tough, man. And
it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been meaning to. I had this thought earlier when I was at work. Is like from the outside perspective. I mean, being an opponent. I mean, looking at these wide receivers and these weapons for the Rams. Like, what's the thought going into that kind of situation from the opponent?
Yeah, you got to guess right. And I think the Lions are like when we had Laporta down there, we were in type because we could go to Gibbs, Montgomery. You got Amon-Ra and Laporta. That was our big red zone target. Amo is not the threat that Devontae Adams is, but I would say I don't know what you do because you're right. You want to take Devontae Adams out, and so let's put the safety over there. Oh, then you're going to leave Puka open, or you run heavy personnel, and you got multiple tight ends that can catch the ball too. And then the fact that Kyron Williams is in your backfield, or Blake Corum, who we'll ask about a little bit later on. I mean, it's hard. The quick answer is you just don't get in that situation, right? You just don't get them. Don't let them get down to that. Don't let them get down in there. It's hard. It's like the tush push for the Eagles. Like sometimes you just you got to play your defense and hopefully something happens that you're hoping the other team screws up a false start or something like that.
It's a good point. That makes sense. And you're absolutely right. I mean, we got four tight ends that are the same person. I'm convinced they've just cloned Tyler Higbee, but he's the one that's out, obviously. But then, yeah, Blake Corum and Kyron Williams are damn near identical. And then, wide receivers, obviously, throughout the depth chart as well. So, yeah, man, the crazy part is you'll see the mix up too. It'll be 13 personnel, so we'll see 3 tight ends out there, and it'll be the backup running back Blake Corum and Konate Mumfield, the rookie wide receiver out there as the target, not Puka or Devontae. So yeah, it's at that point too. It's like you have no clue where that ball is going because the typical standard weapons aren't even theirs.
Yeah,
that kind of brings us into the next question that we have is just because you guys you run a lot of the heavy personnel, like more, I think it's like 3 times more than anybody else in the league the last time I saw. But, the Lions prefer to run linebacker heavy. Do you think that they're going to change that personnel at all because of the defense that they're going to go up against? Or do you think it's going to be one of those things like, this is what's worked, we're going to stick to our plan?
That's a really interesting question and a really hard one to answer. I wish I could, peek into the mind of Sean McVay for just a split second, because that would be too chaotic for me. I think my brain would explode if I took that too much. It's absolutely possible that we see a little bit of a shift in that regard. One thing that kind of happened earlier in the season in the Rams' first game against the Seahawks, Seattle did a great job on defense against this Rams offense. And a big part of that was, you're right that the Rams do a lot of heavy personnel, but they also are throwing out of that heavy personnel. We're throwing out of 13. It's not just a run package. So one thing that Seattle did was they kind of understood that just because we're in a run formation doesn't mean we're in a run play. And so they actually stuck with nickel for a good majority of the game, especially when the Rams were in that 13 personnel. And I think that made a huge difference because they were kind of able to match the speed. So from that perspective of, the Lions liking to go linebacker heavy, and they've got some really good ones. Campbell's easy to pinpoint. I mean, that guy's all over the place, but it's certainly possible that we see a little bit more, maybe a little bit more 11 or 12, I think is more realistic, especially, I mean, the numbers kind of speak out too about the Lions secondary. And then obviously you lose Brian Branch, which is a massive hit to that secondary. So I do think it's certainly possible that we see a little bit more speed formations, a little bit of more of those lighter formations this week.
Yeah. From my perspective, I think Stafford likes to get the heavy personnel in there because for a lot of teams it'll lock in the more linebacker sets, and then he knows what he's going to get to defend that, and he can defend the Lions. Depending on how the Rams handle it, the Lions are set up to defend well against that because our Alex Anzalone, who he didn't mention, is a very good cover linebacker, and so you could kind of take advantage of that. Derek Barnes can cover too, so it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be a great chess match and something I'll be looking forward to in that game.
Yeah, it's tough too, man, because these Rams tight ends are, I mean, they're good blockers and they're good receivers. Colby Parkinson. I don't think people understand Colby Parkinson and who he really is. He's like massive. He's a massive human being. I think that not everybody understands his size. And also he's like 26. He's also really young. Like, so yeah, some of these guys are just, I mean, it's tough for the reason I mentioned that is because it's tough for linebackers to cover really good receiving tight ends, but it's also one of those where if we're going to be in a run play, you don't want to have Colby Parkinson, who's, this massive human being coming in and blocking a safety instead of a linebacker, so it is tough, man. The chess match of this one is probably the most interesting that the Rams have had all season, as far as coach versus coach. What are you going to do? What are we going to do? And what's the adjustments going to look like as the game goes on? I don't think it's impossible that the Lions are able to kind of jump out on the Rams in this game, but then it kind of settles down a little bit. I mean, Arizona was able to go down on their first drive and score on the Rams and then got blown out. It was like kind of one of those, oh, they're going to do this, let's just do this, and then Arizona's not that great at adjusting, whereas Detroit will do a fine job, I believe. So.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Like, I could see one of the two teams jumping out pretty early, and then some adjustments made, and then you see the chess match really take form. Of course, I want to be the team that jumps out early. I'd rather be up.
Yeah, fair.
Hey, the Cardinals felt really good about themselves, right? And then they just did not make any changes on defense. They didn't know what was going on. They're just getting ran over, and it just didn't stop the whole game.
It was so weird to see because they were really aggressive at first, and then they decided to just back up. They just backed off of us. I saw some videos. It was kind of nuts that the Rams were running. That we run a lot of duo blocking schemes and outside zones and stuff. And there was multiple occasions where we were running duo combo blocks on linebackers and then extending out to the safety. And it was like, if you're doing that to second level to third level, it was like, no wonder Kyron and Blake went off in that game. It's like, they're not even doing, like, we're single blocking on level 1 and then doubling on 2. It's like, that's tough. And I don't think that it's so lame to watch that game last week and then try to go into this game because it's like, oh, that's Arizona Cardinals. That means absolutely nothing to how this game is going to unfold. There's zero comparisons to the Cardinals defense to the Lions defense. That game, 45 against Arizona means nothing for this week.
Obviously, I'm wearing a Michigan hat here. I know Michigan's having some trouble with their coach right now, but the guy I want to talk to, we didn't have trouble with. That's Blake Corum, and he has been. I don't want to say stealing the carries from Kyron Williams, but every time I catch the Rams, I mean, I'm seeing more and more Corum. So tell me what you're seeing as far as that and the growth he's had from year 1 to year 2.
Yeah, it almost feels that this was kind of planned, that Blake would kind of start to get more incorporated as the season went on. I don't think I expected how well it would go. Blake is playing unbelievable. And it's not that the Rams are calling different kinds of run plays depending on who's in, whether it's Kyron or Blake. What's just happening is that Kyron is more of your phone booth guy. If you need 5 yards to get a first down and then the game's over, you're going to want Kyron because he's going to be able to wiggle in there and find those short little gaps. But Blake is your home run hitter. You know, he's finding the gap that launches it for a 30-yard gain, where Blake sees that little gap and says, okay, there's the first down. Let's go ahead and get that, like slot that in. So it's kind of fun to watch, but Blake is playing very, very well. He's got some momentum right now as far as his confidence goes. There's, no reason why he shouldn't be getting as many, if not the bulk of the carries, in my opinion, but sitting them close to about 50-50 makes perfect sense, especially in December football. Obviously, you want to try to keep legs as fresh as you possibly can, because next month is when the games get really, really important and you want to have your guys healthy. But yeah, the way Blake is playing right now, I don't think anybody saw it coming. I think that we all, as Rams fans, have kind of felt good about Blake Corum and what he's able to do. And then to see it kind of just unfold, and now he's like starting to break off those big runs. He's scoring touchdowns. He's his vision is unbelievable. So yeah, I think I'm just like excited for Blake because he comes into a team that has Kyron Williams, and it was like, and then Kyron gets extended and all this stuff. And I think for Blake to really shine in an offense that is absolutely loaded, even as a backup player, I'll use that in kind of parentheses, but it's absolutely impressive. And Blake he's on fire right now.
Mm-hmm. We knew the capability was there as Michigan fans, but yeah, it's good to see him, be able to burst out and play well. Just hopefully not this week anyway.
We'll see.
Right. Switching over. So Devontae Adams has not practiced this week. They kind of were treating it the same as they did last week, I believe. And then he did end up playing like limited snaps. Do you have any sort of insight or what the word on his availability is? Do you think there's a chance that they say, hey, Seattle's coming up on a short week, maybe we sit Devontae, and he doesn't play at all? What are your thoughts here?
I would be shocked if Devontae Adams is not suited up for this game. At the very, very minimum, he's going to be fine enough to at least get some action. And if he is hurt in a situation where the Rams do want to make sure that he's going to be healthy for the stretch in those last 3 regular season games, including a big division game next week, then I think it would be one of those things where he's more of a decoy and you're going to put him out there still, and he's still going to be running routes and doing stuff, but you're looking for Puka first. It's going to be that kind of situation if he isn't feeling great. But like you said, this is kind of something that we saw going into last week, and he, didn't score a touchdown last week. So it was kind of funny. He had mentioned, he's like, I figured I'd share some with Puka this time around. Puka coming off his first ever multi-touchdown game. Rather exciting stuff. That kind of surprised me. I was like, seriously? But yeah, Devontae, man, I do think he's going to be healthy enough to go in this one, but I would anticipate that you're going to get what Devontae's been doing, maybe a receiving touchdown or 2, and then closer to like 45 yards.
All right, I'm going to step out of this game for a second. I just, from afar, the NFC West, very tight division, obviously, on top. And we kind of dealt with it. We did deal with this last year. We had 15-2, and it still went down to the last week. And it's kind of feeling like maybe you guys are in that same boat. So how are you, Sheriff, holding up with the tight division? And is it surprising that Seattle's right up with you and the Niners with all the injuries they've dealt with? So what's your thoughts on the NFC West as a whole?
I will say I'll start with the 49ers there with as a fan of like the Rams and being bred to absolutely despise the 49ers, it's that being said, I mean, it's extremely impressive what they've been able to do this year with the amount of injuries that they've dealt with. For them, I mean, obviously that's a team that it feels like, I mean, if Green Bay is going to be winning that division, that's a team you guys are chasing, so it's kind of interesting to see how this year is unfolding compared to last year. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It is very tough right now. And it's one of those situations. I mean, we're short week in Seattle. I mean, we're sitting in the number 1 seed right now. We could be playing a road game in the playoffs in wild card week, So I talked about that on my podcast, Ram Showcase this week, and we're looking at getting a first round bye or needing to go on the road. Like that's really tight right now. I mean, Seattle's playing some extremely good football, and I would say I am surprised at how well they're playing. But that defense is unbelievable. I mean, JSN is catching every single football in the world right now. Sam Darnold, we can kind of tell that it wasn't just, Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. He's a good quarterback, call it what it is. So yeah, they are really, really good, man. And it sucks to see Cooper Kupp still fighting for that. It was like, that's such a bummer, man. Like, I don't know if you guys have any of that. I would have to like think about it of like players where you're like, seriously, of all teams, you go to them for real, dude. Like, that's tough.
We had a coach. We had a coach do it.
Oh, yeah, fair. Oh, that's a bad one too. And he's like doing great. Yeah, that's okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
Yes, we feel it.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, Seattle, I mean, I'm certainly impressed with them. And then luckily we also get Arizona in there. So everybody gets a couple extra buys in there, which is nice.
Yeah. It's nice.
All right. Moving on here. So I know you already said if you could be in the mind of Sean McVay, but we're going to look at it. How do you think defensively, how do you think the Rams are going to try to attack the Lions offense? Right now, the Lions, in terms of scoring, we're the number 1 scoring offense. Rams number 4. I think there's less than a full point in the difference with the average, though. Like, we're right there. But, I mean, if you're in charge of the defense, where do you think you attack the Lions? How do you slow them down?
Yeah, man, it's Chris Shula's job is tough this week for sure, keeping that offense down. I liked what DeMarco Farr of the Rams said, that he kind of mentioned it's, be good early so that you can be great late. It's something that Dallas was doing, which was, hitting those receivers even if they didn't have the ball, just playing physical, doing to Detroit what Detroit does to people. They're the aggressors usually, so you got to punch them first before they get a chance to punch you, so that's kind of the situation I'm thinking for the defense. As we might see a little bit more press than we've been accustomed to, and I'm curious to see if this is going to be a game where we see the Rams blitz a lot. We're not high in the blitz percentages or anything like that, but we're way up on pressure rates. That's just credit to the front 4, but typically they like to just let those guys go loose and then sit as many people back in coverage as you can. And I anticipate that would be the same. I mean, that's kind of been the standard game plan. I think it was against the Bucks that we really pulled out more blitzing than normal, and that's kind of increased a little bit over the last like 3-4 weeks than early in the season. But I would anticipate that Sean McVay, knowing Jared Goff as well as he does, I know it's been now years, and Jared Goff is a very different player than he was with the Rams. He's better today than he ever was with us, that's just how time works. And hopefully you're progressing over the years, but we know too that it's not impossible that you could still get in his head. We've seen it as recently as this year that you can still kind of shake him up a little bit. So that's probably going to be the goal, is try to just, in my own personal key is just to don't let them know where it's coming from. Get a bunch of people up on the line and then drop out random dudes, lots of stunts, pull in a random nickel that's going to be blitzing Cam Curl at the safety spot or something like that. Get him in there firing off. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing, is he's got weapons to look for, great weapons to look for. And if he's instead looking down at the rush, that's where you're going to win against Jared Goff.
Good stuff. All right. Any predictions for the game? It doesn't have to be the score, doesn't have to be the outcome or anything like that, but anything that you want to bank on that's going to happen in this game.
You know what? I haven't said this anywhere. I haven't done this anywhere. It just came to my head now, but I'm going to say that this is the highest scoring game in the NFL this season.
Wow. All right.
Man.
I think we could see some fireworks, dude. I think that this could really be like a 45-42 kind of matchup. I really do. As much as I love the Rams defense and we don't give up points, I mean, this is a different animal. You know what I mean? Like the Detroit Lions is a different beast. And it's a little bit of a monkey on the back too. It obviously, we talked about that I was here last year, and then that game goes to overtime. You lose by 1 in the playoffs, and it's like just like this. The Lions right now are this just annoying little thing that the Rams are dealing with. It's like, just get this over with, just beat them so that we can just be like, okay, we know we can beat them. That's kind of where my brain's at. But I really just feel like this is going to be some high flying action. The Lions offense is absolutely incredible. This Rams offense is absolutely incredible. I think that we're going to be looking back at this one like we're all going to leave the game. It's going to be zeros in the fourth quarter, real sweaty and stuff. That's how it's going to go, I think.
It's Stafford does his best to beat the Lions. Like every game, he's had an amazing game, and it just hasn't. Especially in Ford Field, it has not worked out. It did win the first matchup. The Lions were a much different team at that point, and Stafford's on the way to winning his first Super Bowl. So, yeah, it'll be it's going to be an exciting game, and it's like one of those things, like you think it's going to be high scoring and then it ends up being a defensive matchup or whatever. But regardless, for football guys like us, there's going to be, we talked about the chess match between the two. I am going to be really keying in on who's out there, how they run their personnel, like how they're trying to take advantage of each team. I think this will be a really fun game for football fans as a whole to watch.
Yeah, the YouTube channels that I follow that like break down tape, I've already got them kind of tagged for after this game. Like I want to see my main one that I hope we get a video on for after this game is JT O'Sullivan from the QB school. I love those videos. I think he does an absolutely incredible job. So I'm hoping we get another Stafford one. He did one a few weeks ago, so I'm hoping we get another one of those against this one, because this could be one of those where you're right. Stafford plays well against the Lions. It's one of those things, but I mean, you put that mindset into him already having a 35 to 4 ratio right now, and I mean, this could be one of them Stafford games where you're like, oh yeah, he's obviously MVP. And I hope he gets it, man. I mean, he hasn't even come close, so it's just exciting for him to be in the conversation at this point.
I hope he gets it. I hope he's maybe not this game, but I'm hoping that he gets it, and because that would make a strong case for him getting in the Hall of Fame. If he gets the MVP, then he's got the Super Bowl, he's got the MVP. Him going to Los Angeles put him on the national map where he was hiding in Detroit, and so he definitely get the opportunity. I still root for the guy. Won't be rooting this week for him, but he's everything you want your number one quarterback to be. Like, he had unbelievable talent. He was exciting. He was a good team guy, and yeah, it's
he's
one of those things. But it'll go a long way for his Super Bowl or his MVP credentials if he gets it. Or, Hall of Fame credentials.
Right. You're absolutely right, and I think my favorite part is like I like my quarterbacks like Colin Cowherd likes his quarterbacks, like very just buttoned up, the adult in the room, the dad, you know what I mean? Like just he doesn't get into trouble. You don't have to worry about Matthew Stafford getting into some crazy chaos on a Saturday and it's going to mess up the game or anything like that. Mm-hmm. You have nothing to worry about when it comes to Matthew Stafford. In fact, you have negative things to worry about Matthew Stafford, because even when he's hurt, he's not even going to tell anybody, and he's just going to play better than he ever has. That's crazy. I've been saying, it's like you almost want him to get popped on the first drive, because that's when he starts playing. He needs to be a little bit banged up before he can actually be good. It's weird.
Yeah. Wakes him up.
And he doesn't do the running as much anymore. But in Detroit, he would always run and just hit he'd run into a linebacker, it'd pump up the team, pump up the fans, and it'd be like it's go time.
Yeah, we don't want to see any of that these days, man.
Yeah, right.
I'll say this too. We have a joke about it, man, like all in the Rams fan base, of like, we threw a 88-yard touchdown pass to Tutu Atwell against the Colts in week 4, and Matthew Stafford running down the field celebrating. He was going probably 24 miles an hour, dude. And then when he's actually trying to pick up a first down, he looks like he's running through sand. I mean, that's crazy, man. It's like, so we have it in our heads. We're like, we just pretend you're celebrating, man. And then he'll just go. Like, he's flying when he's celebrating, but he cannot turn a corner, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. You're talking to guys that have Jared Goff as a quarterback. So we're talking about running in sand. All right.
Yeah. Well, all right, I remember.
Sheriff, before we take off here, tell us a little bit about your show, what you got going on this week. And I know you're releasing a show pretty shortly here. We'll put it on our YouTube channel in the description for everybody. But, tell what you're doing in the show and what else you got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm a host of Ram Showcase. I'm in season 10 of Ram Showcase. So started that first year was the year that the Rams moved to Los Angeles. I was writing about the Rams and was like, you know what? we're in Los Angeles now, man. Let's go bigger. And so I went the went the podcast route. I've been doing it ever since. So that's been fun. It is the only long form Rams show that floats between an hour and a half every single week. Full game previews, all that stuff. Go into a bunch of stats. I try not to get too homery on it, and just hype up my own team. I just like to talk about facts as much as I possibly can. But that's out every single week. Ram Showcase everywhere you search that, I guarantee you'll find it. If you didn't, you're doing something wrong. I'm also a host of the Tuna and the Sheriff podcast. That is with my buddy Tuna. That is streamed live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 a.m. LA time. That's on the First and Tuna podcast YouTube channel on the Ram Showcase Facebook page. And that's just us just talking Rams ball. We get a game preview in tomorrow morning, so that'll be fun, man. But that's where you follow. And then at Sheriff Joe Bags, at Ram Showcase, ramshowcase.com. That's the internet.
All
Well,
right.
thanks for joining us. We might see you again. I mean, we could be in the playoffs, and that could be fun. But Sheriff, you're a great guest. We appreciate the time that you've given us. Check out his show. He will give you the stats. He's going to get you ready for this game. So if you want more Rams content, want to know a little bit more about his team, the guy that talks about him all day, every day, that's Sheriff. So join that show. So thanks for coming on, Sheriff.
Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate you.
All right, welcome back, Jacob. It's time for our keys to victory. How are we going to beat the number one team in the NFC at this current point? What is your first key to victory?
So first key to victory that I have is getting points at the end of these drives. Last week against the Cowboys, we did not go for it on fourth down at all. Obviously, there was not really a necessity or a situation where we needed to, or, it wasn't a good opportunity, I guess you would say. This, I feel like there may be some opportunities. I think it's important that we end these drives with points. So, I mean, if it's 4th and 3, 4th and 4, and we've got a chance at like a, 45-yard field goal, I think that we need to take the points this time. Now, that being said, I'm fully aware that if it's 4th and 2 or, even probably 4th and 3, that more times than not, we are going to just try to go for it and, try to get that. But I think points are at a premium here. I know Sheriff thinks it could be the highest game in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that happening. I mean, it's always possible, but I think it's going to be much closer and much more strategic this time. I just think that we need to get points. We need to finish the drives with points.
Yeah, I want to run the football and control the clock and keep that offense off the field. I want to be old school Lions and get some long drives here. And it's going to be very, very important to get to manageable third downs. So I know last week we were pretty aggressive passing on early downs, and I could see that happening again. We just don't want to be predictable. So we might pass on first down, run on second down. I don't care. I just want us to be able to run the ball effectively and just take some time off this clock and keep our defense well rested so that Hutch isn't out there. Like Cowboys game, they had 80 snaps. Like we can't keep playing like that.
Right. Next one that I have is if we want to win this game, I think that we need to be able to get pressure with 4. Right? They're going to have quick throws. They're going to be able to, maneuver some things around, especially when they're in the, 13 personnel that they like. They have 3 tight ends. They've got everybody bunched in. We're going to have our linebackers out there. We already know pretty much how we're going to play and what we're going to do. But I just think being able to have those linebackers drop back a little bit more into coverage, a little bit off the line and get pressure with 4. Our linebackers are great in run defense. I mean, we're going to be able to close in on them for the most part. It would go a long way if Hutch and Al-Quadin, Aleem, if we could just start crashing in and getting some pressure to Stafford. Just make him hold the ball just a little bit longer, make him wait just a second longer for the play to develop, and then make them pay. If we can do that with 4 people, we're going to have success in this game.
I think it'll be really important to just get pressure on so Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua don't have time. It would be so hard to guard them for like 3.5, 4 seconds. They're going to get open. So I think you're right there. It's like we got to get some pressure. This is pretty much every game because I think the lines are set up by there, but it's going to be so important for us to get up early on these guys and just play because if we get behind by 2 scores, man, that defense is going to be so tough. They're going to go. They can get pressure with 4. They're going to run shells. We're going to have to have long. They're going to make us use all the downs. It's going to be really tough to be able to get anything on this defense. So if we could stay ahead, then we could stay unpredictable. and it also allows our defense to be a little more aggressive too. So I think it'll be really important for us to come out and score right away, and don't let them get more than 2 scores ahead of us, or that defense is going to be just really, really tough to score on.
Yeah, that's worse. I mean, that's worst case scenario because yes, we can lose this game and still make the playoffs. Obviously, we don't want that to happen. We want to win. We want to keep going. But I mean, going to LA and getting blown out would be very bad. Perspective for the fans would not be good for the team. Definitely, you want to compete in this game. You want to keep it close, and we want to, my next key to victory is have the ball last. We want the ball last, right?
Okay.
We want it to look like the playoffs. We want to be able to finish the game, finish the drive. We want to be able to take a knee and win this game, right?
Yeah, yes. That would be beautiful. I would love that. To have Jared Goff take a knee in SoFi. Oh my God, that'd be so beautiful.
Speaking into existence.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Just like the last game with Dallas, this team is, the Rams are so hard to beat if Stafford's not turning the ball over. The last game that they lost versus Carolina, Stafford had 2 picks and a fumble. Not saying that we need to get 3 turnovers from him, but like I said, if we can get ahead early, Stafford starts, that's when he will get maybe a little impatient, make a throw that he shouldn't throw, or try to fit something in there, and we could turn him over. We can get a tip pass. We can do something to get the ball, just like we tipped it right to Derek Barnes. Just get the ball in the air, and then who knows what can happen. But that's why getting ahead, I think, will be imperative, and then that's going to lead to turnovers and a little more pressure on Stafford. So I think we got to steal a possession here. Points are going to be, could be high scoring, like Sheriff said, but regardless, I think it's going to be a tight game. If we could steal a possession, it'll go a long way for the Lions to win.
Definitely.
All right, Jacob, roar alert time. Who is the Lions player that's going to make some noise?
So kind of goes with what I just finished with before, but I think Hutch is going to find a way to get home in this one. I do think he's going to be next level. He's going to be pressuring Stafford. Obviously, he's got a lot of pressures. He just, for one reason or another, he gets a lot of pressures, but it's just not, the sack numbers have not been as high. So he's going to be pressuring. I think he finds a way to get home. I think hopefully he's going to get a sack in a big moment. Hopefully another strip sack would be nice, but I just think Hutch is going to have a good game.
Yeah. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have a good game, and I think it's going to be in the passing game. I think that's where he's going to make his bread and butter. I think we might be able to still rush. I mean, he might have a good rushing game too, but I really think he's going to be the weapon that we need, even on third down, run some Texas routes. I don't care, whatever it is. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be the weapon that could unlock this game, moving him all over the field. I'm anticipating a little more 2 RB sets in this, and having Dave Montgomery back there, because I think Dave Montgomery is the type of runner we want on this defense, where he, as long as we block the front, he's a little more patient and can get yards. I want to get to those manageable third downs so that they can't rush us. And I think Dave Montgomery gives us that. But also having Jahmyr on the field is very important too, because it can create a mismatch. It gives the outlet to Jared Goff. And we saw what he did with Dallas, right? He made guys miss for first downs. People look stupid a one-on-one. So I want to see Gibbs just on the field, and but I want Monty to be able to run the ball too, because I think he can be effective in this game. We kind of wrote him off a little bit, but then he showed what he could do in that Dallas game. Broke a couple tackles, took that 35-yard TD run. Man, I want to see them both on the field, but I think Jahmyr in the passing game specifically is going to have a good game.
So you think it might be the same as Dallas, where Jahmyr gets about roughly 12 carries, but then he's going to get targeted 7 times?
Yeah, I think that's the key, especially with Laporta being down. If anything about Laporta going down has opened up, is giving the ball to Jahmyr in the passing game. And I'm never wishing Laporta went down, but I think it's going to pay dividends next year, because they've relied more on Gibbs, out wide, and unlocking him as a receiver is going to be just amazing. And then that allows you to have Dave Montgomery in the backfield. And then, if they want to go heavy in the box with Montgomery in the backfield, and then you got Jahmyr out wide, it's dangerous. Right. Especially like next year, you could have Laporta, Gibbs, Amon-Ra, and J-Mo out there. That's really hard to defend.
Who do you cover, right?
Yeah. So especially on third down, you don't know what to do. And I mean, you get Jameer one-on-one with the linebacker. There isn't a linebacker in the league that's going to be able to cover him.
No.
Not for 3.5 seconds. All right. Grit guarantee time. Jacob, we were pretty good with this lately. I am going to say, I looked at the drives from last week. We did not have, we scored quickly.
Right.
This one, I'm going to say we have a 6+ minute drive. We're going to have at least one drive that lasts 6 minutes or more.
Did we have one drive against the Cowboys that lasted 6 minutes?
I don't think so. Not the one I looked. So we haven't had a lot. We've been scoring quickly, which I don't want to ever complain about scoring quickly, but I think, it goes with my key to victory. Keep that offense off the field. I think this is one of those games that we just matriculate down the field and get that 6 minute drive, let the defense rest. So, that Hutch is fully rested and he's not gassed like he was versus the Cowboys. I mean, at the end of that game, you could just tell he was gassed. Get him out there. But what do you have for your great guarantee?
All right, my guarantee for this one, I'm going to say that Goff throws for 250 plus. Just something about the Rams. Oh, plus just how the offense is going to be trying to move the ball, everything. So that's what I got. Goff over 250 yards.
Yeah, I expect us to move, play almost like we do with Dallas, pass on running downs and run on pass downs, keep them off balance. That's what we were able to do effectively. And it didn't seem like we were just really stubborn about just trying to stuff it down their throat. I think Dan Campbell said, you know what, we're going to take the reins off. And then they gave it, they got those crossers, the Amon-Ra, but we need to be up so that they maybe start to send some blitzes. I would love to see them blitz Goff because that gives lanes open for Goff. He's really good in the blitz. It's when they can rush forward and get pressure, and especially early. That's what you saw in the Eagles. Then it really gets to his head. And then he starts to rush throws, and then it's all
timing's off. Absolutely,
timing's off. But I will say that I like your pick of Goff going 250 plus because it's the Rams, right? He's going to want to win in front of these fans and just kind of remind them what I know that they got all world Stafford this year, but remind him that he's a different player now, and it just a much more mentally resilient player. So I'm looking forward to this game. Do you got any prediction? I know you don't like to predict anything about the game, but so last year you were 80% confident.
Why would you ask?
Your 80%
what are you
confidence
doing?
level. I'm asking your confidence level. How about there? Because that's you didn't answer that last week.
Confidence level about these. So that's the thing. That's a really good team we're getting ready to play, right? I still believe that we have a really good team. Therefore, just like before the season even started, when we looked at this is one of those 50-50 games. I can't be too overconfident, but I'm definitely not under 50. This is going to be a good game between good football teams.
Yeah.
It's whoever's got the better strategy, whoever executes more, and whoever's able to seal the deal at the end. Sometimes you need the ball to bounce your way. You need some things to go right. I want us to win this game. Like I said, I want us to win this game. I want Jared Goff to take a knee, and then I want all the Lions fans that are in SoFi to chant Jared Goff so that all these Rams fans leaving have to hear that as they leave.
That would be a dream. The narrative, get ready for the narrative to change. When we beat the Rams on Sunday, if that happens, the Lions fans will be flying super high and the mindset will totally change. Because then we'll get Steelers back at home. I mean, the last 3 games are for sure winnable. This is definitely on the schedule right now, this Rams game is the hardest game. It's on the road against the number 1 team in the NFC right now. But what's interesting is if the Rams lose, they could drop way down like the Bears did. They dropped from 1 down to almost 7. You could almost have a same fall for the Rams. If they lose this, then they drop way down. And then we also would have the tiebreaker with the Rams. So if Seattle keeps winning, because Seattle and Rams play next week, if the Rams were to lose the next 2 and then we win the next 2, then all of a sudden we're in and the Rams are out. This it's not as big as the tiebreaker with the Bears at the end of the season, but this could, if we win this game, the playoff chances, I'll feel really, really good about playoff chances after, if we win this game.
This is the one that there's a huge boost to the playoff chances. But this is the one that's it's not the end of the world if you lose. The Chicago game is the game that you have to win.
Yes. If we go 3-1 the rest of the way, the playoff chances look pretty good. So that's.
But as you said,
the-
I mean, you look at the schedule, the Rams, this is the 50-50 game. The Steelers, I say more often than not, we win that game. Same as goes for the Vikings, same goes for the Bears. I know we already lost to Minnesota, but still, I stand by that. More times than not, we win those games.
Yep. All right. Well, we're going to talk about NFC playoff stuff in our NFC podcast with our grit picks. So that'll be another episode that'll come out same day as this, a little bit later on, probably around 4:00. Jacob and I already picked the Bucks, which is on right now. So like we picked ahead of time, but we'll talk about that in our grit picks and the other episode. Got anything else before we take off here, Jacob?
No, man, I'm ready for it. Big game.
All right, man. All right. Well, he's Jacob. I'm Jason. Lions this is going to be a fun game. Get ready for it. Get your popcorn ready, as they say. I'm excited about it. So go Lions.